Hey everyone, how's things been going? No, it's been a while since I've been on here and posted a video. Like always, I say I'm going to try, but don't. I'm terrible at this. Um, I either feel like I don't have anything that I need to post or chat about, and then sometimes I'm just too busy to vlog or do anything. Maybe vlogging is probably more what I should do. Just bring you guys along with me. I watch a lot of YouTubers, and a lot of them are just them just taking around their camera with them and video everything that they do in the day, or they just sit and just ramble. I guess mine is pretty much just going to be a rambling and a little bit of update on what's been going on with me and the fam. So I will start out by I'm working from home now. This is my home office. Um, so it's actually in one of our guest rooms that rarely gets used, but decided to set up my home office in here. It's away from the main part of the house, so it's pretty quiet back here. Have a good view out the window to the golf course, so I can watch people play golf. This particular golf course seems to be pretty busy. I'm not a golfer. My family's not a golfer, so we don't get it. But there's usually lots of people out there golfing, and I don't think the weather ever really matters. Um, so yeah, I have a good view out the window. But yeah, I'm working from home. A couple months ago, I started working for a real estate company. Uh, Real estate is something I've always wanted to get into and do. I think I'd be good at it. So a couple months ago, I started working for a real estate company, and it was just what ISA, I believe that's what they call it. But basically, it's uh, you call prospective clients for different agents to try to find them leads. Also do cold calling to try to find leads for agents, try to find clients that are either wanting to sell or wanting to buy or wanting to do both. So, but I had also had just finished taking my real estate classes and finished those up, passed those. So, since my boss at the real estate company said since I'm working towards getting my real estate license, if I wanted to go ahead and work with a mentor, work with one of the agents, which was one of the agents I was already making calls for and trying to find her leads. So she asked if I just would want to work for this particular agent full time and just make calls for just that one agent, and then that agent could um, mentor me. I could shadow her, going to listings, going to showings, blah blah blah, just to get the feel of everything for once I do get my real estate license and start working. I said, yeah. Problem is with that um, is I don't I don't get paid. It's be strictly commission. So whenever I find a client that eventually lists or sells or whatnot, then I'll get paid for that. Um, and then doing this, I also get to work from home. I don't have to go in to the office to work. So this is my first job working from home, um, and I don't mind it. Uh, I don't necessarily get distracted, but if there's things going on in the day, like if I want to go somewhere with Tommy, Tommy is my husband. That he's a professor at the local university, so he has summers off. So if you know he wants to go run around and do stuff, I'm like, hey, I'll go with you. I'll work on these calls later. I'll work on the calls a couple hours in the morning, and then once we get back, I'll work on some more. There's not like a set time that I need to make my calls. So it's that's been kind of distracting. Is that I can just up and go do whatever I want, and then just as long as I finish my list of calls that day, and they're typically calls that I have set. They're called to dos, so they're typically calls that I have set myself to call that day. It could be 10, 15, 20. It can be over 50 calls that I need to call in that day. And not that every one of them has to be called that day, but I try to do them all so they're not overflowing to the next day or to another day. I just like having, I'm a neat, clean, organized person. So if I see stuff that's not completed, I feel like that I haven't done everything that I needed to do. So I try to get it all done. So that day's to do list doesn't have anything on it. So yeah, that's that's my thing with working at home, is trying to focus and try to sit down and do all the calls all at one time before I get up and go do anything. But if I do get up and go do something, I know sometime during the day I need to come back here to my office and finish those calls up. I did go on my first showing with the agent that I'm working with the other day. Um, that was cool. She was showing me, how to. I guess there's an app that you have on your phone. You log into that app, put in the address that you're at. It will send you a code for you to unlock the lockbox to get the key. So it's not just I guess every agent doesn't have the same code. It will send you a random code to each agent that is trying to get into that property. In this particular property, the people still live there. So that's another thing, is that it has to be cleared by the property owner that you can come at whatever time that you want to come show the house, so they know to be gone. Um, and they had this little tiny Yorkie they left there, and it was just the best little dog. My dogs are not like this. My dogs freak out and bark at everything that moves by the house. Um, One dog just props himself up to where he can look out the front door. Our front door is glass, and then we have tons of windows in the front of the house. So he likes to sit where he can see everything go by the house, and just about everything that goes by the house he wants to bark at. And then it gets the other dog started, so they're both standing there barking like crazy at nothing. Um, but this little Yorkie was so quiet. It just came up to the door, sniffed us, and then went back to its little spot and laid there the whole time we were there. But I was like, super cute little tiny Yorkie. So, but yeah, going on my first showing was pretty cool. I like that. Going into real estate is, like I said, something I've always wanted to do for years. I've wanted to do, and I think I would be good at it. I know I would like it. I like being independent. I like just doing things on my own. So other than meeting up with clients um, to list their property, or to meet with them to show them property, you go into a closing or whatnot, for the most part, I will just be on my own. I'm not constantly around other employees or other people or whatnot. But that's what I like, is just being independent and just being on my own. So, yeah, I think I would. That's what I would really enjoy. And then with the housing market the way it is now, the money's good, so it's just passing the real estate exam. So speaking of that, it was a month ago that I took my real estate exam, and there's two parts. So there's a state part and there's a national part. The state part, I've had a few agents say they thought that was the hardest part of it. I don't know if it was hard or not, but I passed the state part of it. And then I was like 25 questions in, and there's 90 questions on the national part. So I was like 25 questions in on the national part when there was an area wide Wi-Fi outage. So I wasn't able to finish the, the national part of it. So I passed the state part, got an email saying I failed the national part for not completing it. So I was like, duh, I know that. So I rescheduled to take the national part. The other day I took that and unfortunately failed it. I was close to passing it, but still failed it. And I've heard from other agents that said Tennessee is really strict on um, people passing it. Someone said like in California that it's only like 50%. Um, you only have to pass 50% of the test to pass the test, and here you have to pass 70% of the test. Um, so so yeah, and I studied, I read and read and studied and still didn't pass it. I was very disappointed. Um, I felt like I let a lot of people down. I had a lot of encouragement from Tommy, other agents that were just praying for me and wishing me the best of luck with the test. I still didn't pass it. So, but I do get to take it again. I have it scheduled to take again in August. So, fingers crossed, I'll make it. I'll pass it this time because I'm ready to get started in real estate. Not only because I want to do it, but two is to start building on my clientele and start making some money. Because again, with the real estate market right now, you can make good money at doing it. So I'm ready to do that. Um, Tommy, my husband, has already got plans for the good money that I'm going to be making. Um, and Tommy makes extremely good money at being a professor. Um, I've never even remotely got near what he's making. So if I can get into real estate, I think I could do well and make close to what he's making now. Because we do like nice things, especially Tommy. He really likes nice things, so he likes spending money. Um, I grew up poor, and so once I started making money and was able to pay my bills and not live paycheck to paycheck, I still have this thing with what's called buyer's remorse, where I'm like, do I really need to spend this money for this thing that I don't necessarily have to have? I'm just wanting it. So do I need to spend this money? Because I could just leave this money in the bank and have it there for an emergency. So I still struggle with that. Uh, but I do drive a super nice car, a super expensive car, and so I like that's really what I spend my money on. Is like every 3 years I'll get a new car, and that's where I will splurge and spend the money. So um, in between getting the new car, and getting another new car in 3 years, I just have buyer's remorse on spending money for stuff that I don't really necessarily have to have. Um, so, and again, I think it's just from growing up poor and just not having the extra money. Mom being a single parent, um, just seeing her struggle, and then as I became an adult, um, and being out on my own, struggling to you know, do the have to things and buy the necessities, and then just living paycheck to paycheck, and be like, I can't spend $20 on something that I don't have to have. So I just like, I don't want to go back there again. So yeah, especially now that we have kids. As some of you know, we've adopted two boys, which were officially adopted in August. So I think that puts you in a different mindset. Is when you have kids, it's not now just about you. You have these kids that you also got to take care of. That you also got to make sure that you um, are able to support them. So yeah. Uh, so that's where at right now. My home office. Uh, just recently got a desk in here. Me and Tommy were sharing um, an old laptop. Literally, this laptop is probably 7 years old, and it didn't get used a whole lot anyway. But one time, like 2 years ago, Tommy was using it. He had left it open, and our little Persian cat decided he was going to get up there and claw at the keys um, on the computer and tore off a bunch of them. We kept the keys and we're going to take and get them put back on, and just never did. And then we moved to this new house, and who knows where those keys are at now. But the computer still worked. So, so when I got this job, I had to have the laptop, and I was using it on a daily basis. And then decided to just go ahead and buy um, a laptop. I got a Chromebook tablet. You guys may or may not know, but it's basically a tablet. It's a good size, like a 13.6 inch touchscreen tablet that has a keyboard that attaches to it if you need to use a keyboard. So, so I got one of those. I liked it because it was thin, it wasn't huge, it wasn't bulky, it was easy. It's easy to carry around. So I got one of those, and that's what I've been using. It's been working out great. And then Tommy has the old laptop back, and again, still doesn't use it that often, but he has enough he needs to. Um, he does a lot of design, costume design for different shows and stuff that he works on, and so he has an iPad that has a program on it to do the design stuff on. So that's really what he uses more than anything. I think the laptop he uses for when he has Zoom meetings. Got my Dunkin'. Um, so yeah. So um, let's see. Tell you about my mom. My mom passed away about 3 months ago. Um, Super unexpectedly. She had a heart attack. Uh, Me and my two kids had went to Florida on spring break. We were on our second full day there, and I got a call from my sister. A lot of times I don't answer the calls from my sister because she butt dials me a lot. Um, so I usually just don't answer it and figure if it is really her calling, that she'll leave a message. But something just told me, answer this call, answer the call, answer the call. So I answered it, and it was my nephew's wife, and she was hysterical. And so automatically I was like, it's either something's happened to my sister or something's happened to my mom. And she told me that my mom had passed away, and my mom was living with my sister. Um, about a year ago, my mom had to start dialysis. Um, so my sister decided it was best if my mom moved in with her, and then she could help with the dialysis and whatnot, and just take care of mom. And it had been time for several years for mom to not be living on her own anymore. She was basically confined to a wheelchair. She could move around a little bit if she wanted to move from the wheelchair to the sofa, or from the wheelchair to the bed, or to use the bathroom. But she wasn't just able just to get around and walk around without some kind of help. And so it was just time for mom to either move in with me or move in with my sister. My mom decided to move in with my sister because it was still in the same town that my mom was used to living in. Um, so so yeah, she had moved in with my mom or moved in with my sister about a year ago, and my sister had went in to check on mom. Mom was awake. Asked mom if she needed to go to the bathroom, and mom said yeah. So she had mom to her wheelchair. Mom wheeled herself to the bathroom. My sister said that she had been in there longer than what she typically is in there for, and went in there and found her slumped over, and she tried to perform CPR, um, but mom was pretty much already. I think she was already gone by then, but my sister was trained in CPR, but my mom was this little tiny petite lady. She was 4'10", weighed like 85 pounds. Just she was basically just a skeleton with skin on her. And the doctors had already said, if she ever needed CPR and somebody really needed to do those compressions on her chest, if she survived that, she would have broken chest bones because she's just so thin. But my sister tried the CPR. My nephew's wife was also there because she had brought her kid over to my sister's house that morning also. So they were all there, but mom was gone. So she had called to tell me that mom had passed away. So me and the boys just quickly packed up all of our stuff and rushed home from Florida back to Tennessee, which was I think about a 7-8 hour drive. And unfortunately, my kids, they had met my mother a few times, but they never really got to know her, which I hated that they really didn't get to know her that well. And I don't think they've ever really experienced death, so I don't think they really knew how to react to that. I mean, they know what death is, but they never really had to experience it. And then on top of not really knowing their grandmother, I just felt bad that this was a lot for them. I was trying to keep my composure and try not to break down too much in front of them. So yeah, it was a rough spring break, but everything's good now. No, mom is in a much better place. She's there with her mom and dad now and her sister. I know she's in the best health that she could ever be in now, and she's with some loved ones. So, but still think about her every day, like anybody who's experienced a passing like that. You never really get over it, and you think about them all the time. Anyway, so move past that. The boys are doing great. Jack turned 12 in May. Gavin just turned 15 this month, and he's actually starting his first job this afternoon. He's this restaurant that we go to quite often. We know the owner. He lives close by to us. Had said he'd give Gavin a job when he turned 15. So Gavin's gonna start his first job tonight. So he's nervous, of course, but he couldn't ask for a better boss than he's gonna have. We just told him, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Just don't do something and it might not be right. Ask. Just don't hesitate to ask any questions. And the boss, the owner of the restaurant, is going to take good care of him. He's not going to let him get too nervous or too stressed out about things. But like all of us, even now, starting a new job, it's nervous. You're nervous starting a new job. and this being his very first job, he really is nervous. He's like, what am I going to be doing? What are my hours going to be? And it's like, I don't know. I think he's probably going to show you a little bit of everything. Um, so yeah, so he's going to do that. He's been studying to get his permit, which he says it seems like it's going to be super hard, but he does already have a car that he's been learning to drive in. So I'm like, just get that permit so we can get out on the main roads and get you some more of that real world experience driving your car out on the main roads. So so he's working on that. I think he's wanting to do the test here at home instead of going to the testing center to do it. So yeah, I think that's it. Nothing major going on with our lives. Pretty much a chill, laid back vibe of the family here. School is about to start back, so Tommy got school supplies. I got both boys registered, changing their names in the school system to what to their new names now. So yeah, school's about to start back. Jack is not feeling it at all. I think Gavin is kind of ready to go back. He says he's ready, so we'll see. But yeah, I think that's about it. But thanks for listening to me ramble. It's going on 30 minutes, so thanks for listening to me ramble. I am planning on making more videos of this whole real estate process journey type thing. So look forward to those. So we'll see if I make that work. Thanks, guys.